Mr. Lee Harris. I thank you for coming on our show, and you are my new friend because I put you on the spot and you follow up on your word. And I love a man that follows up and holds his word, man or woman, who are of their word. It's nothing more important and nothing more significant than your word. So, Senator, why is diversity in the workplace important?
You got a call?
Oh, sorry. I got a call. Caller. David, go ahead. You're on the KWAM 990 Talk Radio, the unleashed voice for the LGBTQ community. Go ahead. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, David.
Yeah, you're live. Come here.
Great.
Great. Thank you, sir. I ran one time, yes, sir. She was talented. She had a lot of talent. I'm not talking about looks.
That's good. That's good.
Talented young lady.
Yeah, you cleaned that up.
Yeah, I like it. I love it.
That's good.
We already got it.
Congratulations.
Oh, that's cute, David.
Well, thank you, David. Thanks for calling in. Go ahead, Senator.
No, I think I agree with David. I listen to David all the time. He's always well informed on what's going on.
He's gonna set the record straight.
That's right. So I think that we politicians can do a lot better job of getting the word out and making sure that we tell the public what's going on, because they do appreciate it. He's right. They don't show up at a lot of town hall meetings, but they do appreciate it. I've had 2 town halls. I think we had them last month. We had 2 town halls last month, one on jobs, and we had another one that was on just helping senior citizens and trying to figure out what senior citizens need. And we had both in Whitehaven, at different places in Whitehaven. And we had a big turnout for the first one and a not so big turnout for the jobs one.
Well, we don't have to help you get that information out, because I'm in your district and I didn't know about it.
Well, I was trying to be neighborhood specific, so the 2 we had in Whitehaven, I mailed out something to the 3116 community. So if you live in 3116, hopefully you receive a mailer from me about one of those town halls. I mean, you only got the senior citizen one if you were over 62, but if you were under 62, then you got the jobs one. But even though jobs are a big issue in this community, we did not get get a lot of folks to show up. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that we know, because people called our office, everybody who received one of those mailers, and we didn't mail out every household. We probably mailed out a few thousand. Everybody that received one of those, we got a lot of calls, and all the calls were positive, and people were just glad that somebody was trying to give them some information and give them opportunity to figure out what's going on in their government, because a lot of this stuff is just detached. People always talk about politicians just doing whatever they want when they get in office, and they're kind of detached from what's going on in the neighborhoods and in the communities. And I can tell you, somebody who served in office, that they are right. That is exactly what happens in a lot of these offices, is that folks are not talking about anything that has anything to do with communities or neighborhoods or the things that are on real citizens' minds. And so we've got to figure out a way to turn that around. One of the issues is that most politics is a team approach. The city council obviously operates as a team. The state senate operates as a team. One person can't do anything. Even the mayor relies on a team in a lot of respects. And so to really turn this around and to get our elected bodies to be representative and to be advocates for the people, we really kind of got to have a big change. I mean, you really got to have a number of people fighting. So I was on the city council. My main issue, anybody on the city council, I think, will tell you if they pay close attention to the city council, my main issue was neighborhoods. Because the neighborhoods I represent were facing severe challenges, and my biggest neighborhood was Frazier, and we fought for funding for Frazier Park, and we fought for sidewalks for school kids, and just a whole number of neighborhood issues. We fought hard for these anti-dumping cameras, so we could catch people who were dumping. Everything was about neighborhoods, but it is hard to put together a group to fight for that same issue. And so we've just got to, have a change. I mean, there are a lot of folks out there fighting, but not enough, not close to enough. And and I got to say this also about elected office. But nobody out there, no matter what they promise, nobody's Superman.
I agree.
Nobody's going to save anything or save anybody. And so everybody who thinks that, and I know a lot of folks. I go to community meetings, I go to town halls. They say, "Well, you hadn't saved me," and I say, "I'm not," and I'm not going to save you, because I am not Superman, and I didn't run for office saying I was going to save anybody from anything. All I said was, I am going to partner with you. If you do your part in your neighborhood, you better believe I'm going to do my part and then some.
That's a good one.
And so when we we had a fire station. When my first year in city council, they tried to close one of my fire stations in North Memphis. And I went down to that meeting with the neighborhood folks, and they were mad. They're going to close the fire station. I said, well, if you're mad, let's get together. You come down to City Hall, you support me,
right,
and we'll keep this fire station open.
Right.
And I swear, that community brought 50 people to City Hall, and we collaborated and made sure that fire station stayed open. And to this day, that fire station is open, and there has not been another attempt to close a fire station in the city. If that community had not partnered with the city government and not partnered with me, I can guarantee you that not only would that fire station be closed, but there would be fire stations closed all over the city by now, because that was the original plan. And we were able to put a stop to that. But I didn't put a stop to that alone. I am not Superman, and none of these elected officials are Superman. The best you can hope for is somebody who's going to partner with you, and when the time comes, that they're going to actually do their job.
Yeah, I think you said something very important when you said that the people come in and they forget about the community or the district that they were elected in, the people that live there. And so what we see is indicative of what's reflective of what you just said. You didn't have to say anything, because it shows when you drive around this city. This city is nasty. There are potholes everywhere. I mean, it's awful how bad the streets are.
And how often do we talk about it? Never.
I mean, it's bad.
The citizens talk about it, but nobody else.
I live downtown, and I know it's a police station downtown. I think it's 2 right there at the train station and on Beale Street. But we had this group of men, and they just harass people every day. The same ones. They walk up and down Main Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street. The same core group of guys, and they just harass people. And I'm like, where is the police? I know they see these guys, because they are there from sun up until sundown.
No, panhandling is a tough problem. I mean, I've lived downtown for 10 years, and I don't live there right now, but we lived down there for almost 10 years, and panhandling is a tough issue downtown. Part of the problem is we don't have enough homeless services in the city, and that's not.
These guys not homeless. I know the homeless guys. They change clothes every day.
Yeah, maybe some of them are substance abusers, and some may have mental health issues. We don't have enough services for that community, and that is actually not an unusual thing in the city. So the condition of our neighborhoods is an unusual thing.
Well, you get,
but this kind of problem is it's all over.
High tourist area right there. You have the Grizzly. People walking down the mall. You have the Redbird game going on. You have a lot of stuff on Beale Street. You have a lot of activity going on around there, you know, where you're trying to just mind your own business and don't want to feel threatened. And you're out in broad daylight. But that's just one area that we need a little more awareness and a little more presence. And I know the police can't do everything like you said, but it shows in the government and the people, the elected officials. But before we took a break, you and I talked about the citizens have to take ownership of who's sitting there in these offices.
That's right.
We can't just complain about the city council or the county commissioners when you won't get out and vote. You have to get out and vote. If you want to make a change, stop talking about it. Get out and do something about it. Get behind a candidate and get these people out of these seats. Send a message.
No, that's right. I mean, we can talk about the most current issue today, Black Lives Matter. I mean, the Black Lives Matter movement hasn't had, it probably will at some point, but hadn't had significant effects on legislation yet. Right? We don't see body cameras in Memphis. We don't see national legislation. We don't see any kind of anybody in elective office really responding and getting anything passed because of that movement. And that's largely just a political calculation.
Yeah.
A political calculation that sooner or later they'll go away.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, the members of that group is comprised of young folks who don't vote anyway. So people might care, but not a whole lot about members of that movement because, again, they are not voters. If you replace that Black Lives movement, you replace the young folks with those, with senior citizens.
Yeah.
Oh, there'd be some action.
You're right.
In the first week or two.
You're right.
Because that's when we talked about that fire station. I didn't bring downtown 25-year-olds.
Right.
I brought the voters.
Right.
If you're 25, 30, right, it's hard to get anybody's attention.
You're right.
But if I bring a voter down there,
you're right.
They are. People are listening. And I brought folks down there, senior citizens, just to sit in the chairs.
Yeah.
They didn't have to say a word. I told them just sit in the chairs, and we'll do the rest.
Right.
Sit in the chairs, make sure everybody can see you, and boy, did they sit in those chairs. That was enough.
Voting has a lot of power, and people don't realize how much power it is behind voting. But let me ask you this, Senator Harris: how many laws do you guys have on the books right now aimed at monies or to help LGBTQ homeless kids in Memphis or whatever services?
So not enough. So as far as when we talk about state laws, you've got an uphill battle. So this year, on the Senate, on the Democratic side, we sponsored a bill that we thought was responsive to the needs of the LGBT community. And so our bill, which was, for those who want to look at this stuff, it was SB 371. And it was sponsored by Sarah Cowell, my colleague in the Senate, and Sherry Jones, who's a Democrat from Nashville. And what that bill would have done would have been prohibit discrimination at large against members of the LGBT community wherever they're found in the state of Tennessee.
Gotcha.
And so it would have been a total equality bill. That bill did not get a lot of momentum, and largely, it's just the result of the fact that progressives are in the deep minority right now in the Tennessee Assembly. Now that will change. I mean, we're going to have to wait for it. It'll be some time, but that will change. And so that's kind of the starting block. Is you've got to kind of prohibit discrimination, and then you can go from there and kind of fight for funding and services and so forth. So we haven't gotten that far yet.
So tell me, what was what motivated you, or what was the catalyst for you to take your you don't believe in discrimination stance? Did something bring that about, or you just inherently that way?
I never thought it was a big deal. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think all this stuff is also a little bit generational.
Yes.
And I think just I can't say that I've ever thought that we should discriminate against a certain group of people. I just have never felt that way. I've understood that. And it also seems to me that, and I know, this also rubs people the wrong way, but it's the truth for me, and I can only speak my truth. For me, I've never seen any difference between discriminating on race and discriminating based on sexual orientation. To me, those are kind of the same.
I was going to say that.
And a lot of those arguments about discriminating on race, those folks who want to still kind of hold us back in terms of race, make the same arguments with respect to sexual orientation. So it seems kind of the same situation to me.
Exactly.
In fact, when we've had some talk, and again, it's just talk. It's not much of anything yet. But we have some talk among some Republican legislators recently in Nashville to say, we should do some protection for our Tennessee State employees who may not want to be a part of marriage equality. And so what they intend to say is if you come in for a driver's license and you're a part of the same